New UA Traitors are reveals Midoriya finally has an important one-on-one conversation with Uraraka and the day of reckoning has arrived. Let's talk about all of this and more as we dive right into the newest chapter of My Hero Academia. So My Hero Academia Chapter 342 is finally out, and with it we get to witness Class 1A leave UA for what could be the last time, and Midoriya finally gets to have a well-needed talk with Ochaco Uraraka. But before I begin talking about this chapter, I'm first going to go into a quick summary of what happened last time. And as usual, don't forget to Detroit smash that like button and slide on into that subscribe button's DMs to hit that notification bell. In the last chapter, we saw the vicious vampiric voluptuous villain Himiko Toga visit her now desecrated family home to reflect on her utterly unpleasant upbringing. During this visit, Toga has a flashback to the dreams of her youth, where she would wish for a simple sparrow to fly into her stomach and splash through her organs, coloring her red in her own blood. You know, the basic dream everybody has nowadays, right guys? Yeah, boss. Most definitely. Who does? I agree. Wait, what did he say? Following this delightful detour down memory lane, Toga leaves her home and encounters Dabi, who in typical Dabi fashion says fuck Endeavor, blows up Toga's old home, and front flips out of a building window. Hashtag just Dabi things. Dabi then reassures Toga and reveals to us that their plan will work, in using Twice's blood, which Dabi was able to collect from his corpse, to transform Toga into him and use his power. The story then cuts over to the villain cave, where Shigaraki seems to be going through another meat metamorphosis like the human butterfly he is, and Skeptic and All For One tell Spinner that he is an inspiration to all heteromorphs, aka mutant type quirk wielders. So they want him to be the one to pull the trigger in the upcoming war against the heroes to inspire every undecided heteromorph to join their cause. And this is where chapter 342 picks up. This chapter opens up with two civilians inside UA passing a message between each other that All For One is back giving orders. Similar to his request to Aoyama, All For One has asked these two civilians to create an uprising involving the refugees who still doubt the heroes to force Midoriya to leave UA once again. They also reveal that Shigaraki should be back and ready for action in less than a week, which doesn't have me too excited as they have been basically saying this for the past couple of months. Following this interaction, the story cuts to Class 1A's dorm room, where we see our beloved class returning exhausted from patrol. Ida, who is in his new hero outfit, which has a retractable mask like Iron Man, badass, reminds his fellow exhausted classmates how important it is that they are out on the streets helping the professionals, and that there is no time to complain or rest. While this speech is going on, Deku internally comments how he is distressed that he hasn't had the time to be able to properly thank Uraraka after everything she has done. All Might then arrives in the dorm rooms in classic bombastic All Might fashion, accompanied by Sukuuchi and Nezu. Momo asks the trio if they have come to give them news about Aoyama, to which Sukuuchi confirms that they have, and All Might says that they also have one more matter to discuss, one that only a small group of people can know about. Plan B for the final battle. Yet again, before we can learn of this plan, however, the story cuts away, this time to a montage of several characters. We see Ragdoll talking with Team Chicken Hot Pants, Endeavor, Hawks, and Best Jeanist in a destroyed room, where Endeavor is reading through a pile of paper with an upset face. Aizawa is in the hospital watching Kurogiri, Aoyama is in his cell, and the students are listening to All Might's grand plan. The story then cuts to the next day, where we see all of the refugees in UA outside wishing Class 1A farewell, as they prepare to leave UA. The traitor refugee from earlier lets us know that Principal Nezu made an announcement that they know Shigaraki will be back fighting in just 4 days. So he is shocked to see Midoriya and the others willingly leave the safety of the school, but he is also satisfied that his order to send Midoriya out has basically been fulfilled. Before the class leave, Kota asks Deku if he is really leaving, and Midoriya confirms that he is, saying that he has rested enough to get all of the mud off. And with this, we see a sequence of panels of the students saying goodbye to their loved ones, showing Inko Midoriya, the Bakugos, the Todoroki family, the Jiros, Eri and Kota, and even the giant fox lady who is shaking hands with Shoji. I guess they would have a lot in common being viewed as monsters because of their quirks. But anyway, upon leaving, the class goes straight to a new facility located 30 kilometers from UA, called Troy. This facility was built by Cementos, Power Loader, and Ectoplasm, and is very much like the original dormitories, with everyone having their own room. I wonder if any other class is staying in this facility. I guess we'll have to wait to find out. A little while after arriving at this facility, Deku looks out the window and notices Uraraka alone outside. So he jumps out of the window, what's up with people jumping out of windows, and goes to meet her. Here, Midoriya officially thanks Uraraka for the speech he gave about letting him come home to UA. But Uraraka initially bats this compliment away, saying that she didn't do anything too big and that he's making a big deal out of something small, as he always does. Midoriya then asks Ochaco why she is alone outside, to which Uraraka replies that she is watching the city. And a brief moment of silence follows as the two stare out at the broken and burning city before them. This silence is then broken by Ochaco, who says that she thinks she is strange. But Deku disagrees vehemently, citing several reasons why he thinks she is great, such as her strength, courage, kindness, and even her hairstyle. Which, I mean, come on, Deku is totally flirting. Uraraka, embarrassed by Midoriya's barrage of compliments, asks him to stop, and she clarifies that she thinks she is strange because during her speech atop UA, she started to think about Himiko Toga. Uraraka goes on to say that when they faced each other during Gigantamachia's stampede, Uraraka told her what she considered was right, but Toga only replied with a sad expression. Ochaco then states that she understands that the destroyed city she now observes is a consequence of the actions of villains like Toga, but she feels uncomfortable not knowing her point of view. And Uraraka ends this little speech by saying that looking at the city is a way to remember all of this evil, so she won't think about these things and do something stupid. In hearing all of this, Midoriya says that he actually understands her because of the young boy he saw crying inside Shigaraki, and even though confrontation is inevitable, he doesn't want to ignore that side of their opponents. Hearing this, Uraraka looks at Midoriya with a slightly surprised expression, and then with a gentle smile on her face, she says that in this case, the two of them are quite strange. The story then briefly cuts to Bakugo, Ida, and Kirishima inside of Todoroki's new bedroom. Here, Todoroki thanks the trio for their concerns about him over facing Dabi, but he reassures his three friends that he is fine. Ida comments that because he too has an older brother, he understands a little bit of Shoto's pain, but Shoto himself says that it must have been a much heavier pain for Ida because he and Tensei are so close. And Shoto admits that he doesn't even know what food Toya likes. Bakugo then chimes in joking that it's probably hot udon, and Todoroki smiles saying that if that's the case, then they can eat it together, showing that just like Uraraka and Midoriya, Shoto too, deep down, just wants to save his villain counterpart. Now with this, chapter 342 comes to an end as Todoroki declares that they will stop Toya, as we see a glimpse of Deku and Uraraka watching the city once again, followed by the final shot of All For One holding a communicator saying, "Let's get started." As the narration informs us, the plan starts today. Overall, this was quite a nice chapter. There were no super big events or reveals, but it was very character driven and still felt like progress was being made. I will say I am kinda getting sick of the Shigaraki will be fully healed in X amount of days shtick. It feels like every chapter Horikoshi is just picking a random number between 1 and 10 and is like, yep, that'll do. Although that's my only real complaint of this chapter. Midoriya having finally gotten to have a one-on-one conversation with Ochaco was great, and to be honest, it felt a lot more mature than I was expecting. Like, their conversation felt more like adults talking than the kids they started off as. I mean, even when Midoriya started to compliment Uraraka, she didn't go all red or jump around the place. She had a genuine reaction, which is super nice to see. The underlying theme of this chapter was definitely, can the villains be saved? And I'm hoping the answer is mostly no. I understand that at least one of the villains will be redeemed in some way by the end of the final battle, but if all the big villains get a redemption story, it's gonna be a huge bummer in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, I love a good redemption story, but sometimes you just need a villain to be a villain. And with the League being such a close group, it's kind of fitting to have them all go down together. But let me know what you think of this chapter. If you like this video, don't forget to leave a like and comment what you think is going to happen next. For more My Hero content, subscribe to the Lunchtime crew. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Plus Ultra.